Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Rampage and welcome back to Mad Again. In this video I'm going to talk about the top 5 good things that came out of E3 2016 and let's get started. So number 5 is Battlefield 1. Bringing back destruction is a good thing, right? That's basically all I can say about the game because cool, it has explosions, it has cool weapons, it has nice gameplay. But will it run fine when I get to play it, when I get my hands on the game? Because I've been, quite annoyed over the last 2 Battlefield games, like Battlefield 3 ran a bit weird at launch compared to playing it at EB Expo, whenever the hell that year was, 2012 or whatever, 2013, I don't know, something like that. It ran fine at EB Expo, sort of, but then it, when I got the game and actually played it, it ran worse, and I didn't understand why that was the case. And the same thing happened with Battlefield 4, so, I'm stepping back for a while with this one. I'm not going to jump on board straight away or day one, because I just don't want to be let down day one for a 3rd time, Number 4, Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, there hasn't been a lot of information in regards to what the gameplay is going to be like, but the little snippets of gameplay that they showed, it did appear to be a little more open this time around. In Mass Effect 3, there was, little areas that you could go into, but you couldn't go onto the... You couldn't basically go anywhere you wanted to. Now, I don't know whether this game's going to be the same, but it's just going to be larger maps or something like that. But it seemed kind of cool. The world itself looked absolutely amazing. So, cool. Open world is also a good thing. And, new character. Now, I'm not really too sure how they're going to put this new character in there because, well, having a face of a franchise is a weird thing when you have a character creation section for your game as well. So, you can have a face of Mass Effect all you want, but by the time the player actually gets the game and, puts it in, their character might be different to yours. Because a lot of people make stupid characters when they can, when the game allows them to make their own character. So, whatever. Number 3 is Detroit Becomes Human. Now, this game... It's kind of cool and kind of weird at the same time because they have this idea of, I don't know what it is, but they want the player to play as multiple protagonists. As far as I'm aware, I'll link the I think it was the PlayStation Live podcast or whatever the hell it was, where David Cage was saying stuff like, we wanted the player to experience this game via the androids, not the humans. And it's interesting. It's an interesting take on a situation where androids are going apeshit. That's kind of cool, I suppose, but at the same time there's also going to be multiple protagonists, as I said. And why? We have this Kara character. If you don't know who that is, go back and watch the teaser trailer or the teaser thing for Detroit Becomes Human. That was basically the same chick that was in the, I don't know what it was, but the Kara tech demo, I think it was. And, that looked kind of cool. And now they're like, you get to play as multiple robots, and one of which, at least, that they showed off at E3 this year, was basically just a lifeless protagonist. And as a player, I don't care about a lifeless protagonist because I'm just going to be like, I'm playing this section, okay, fuck off. I want to be over here with this character that actually has or shows emotion, So hopefully they don't keep that section of the game or it's like a one-off or, there's a few here and there. I do hope that it's not going to be, oh, you get to play a quarter of the game as Kara, then a quarter of the game as that lifeless dickhead, and then, I don't want it to be like that, and I hope that it's not going to be like that. Okay, yeah, everything that they showed, more or less, looked like in-game footage, so if they can pull that off for the entire game, cool. It looked absolutely amazing, right? But you got to keep in mind that this was a closed environment. It was basically just a apartment building, right? Or apartment thing. And therefore, if the game ends up being more of a open game, no, I'm not saying like it's going to be open world or anything, because I don't know. But if it's going to be more of a, you step outside, you could go do whatever in a specific area, then it may not look as good as what that E3 demo showed. So just keep that in mind as of right now, at least, because, you know, we have been let down at E3 before. What else was there? Ooh, yes, the poor decision making. Basically, truth, lie, yes, no. I don't want that. That's not, you know, detailed decision making at all. And then right at the end, they basically stated that there's a possibility or actual consequences with this like massive tree of different approaches. If the game is going to be like that, imagine that there's 10 or 20 different approaches that you could take for that one sequence, right? Imagine how many there would be as it progresses from that situation. Like, that would be a tree of like 100 or more different trees that you could take, which is a fucking cool idea. But at the same time, how well would that be flushed out, right? Imagine they have to do that for every option possible within that game. Now, by the end of the game, does that mean that there's going to be multiple endings? Or is there only going to be two? A good one and a bad one? Who knows? This is why I don't like when games try to say that they're going to have this massively, you know, complex discussion system or whatever they want to call it. But basically, in the section that they showed at E3, they basically had two options, and it went from there. Rather than that, why can't the player, you know, have options beyond that? You know, asking that character certain questions to learn a bit more about them, rather than relying on the game itself to be like, okay, I choose this option, then something else happens, and I choose this option, then something else happens. The player is going to be sitting there basically doing nothing for that entire section. So if the player isn't actually engaged in any gameplay whatsoever whilst these QuickTime events are happening, because that's basically what it is choose a thing before the thing, it's not inviting at all. I don't want to experience a game like that, and that's probably why I never got into Heavy Rain. I do need to play Beyond Two Souls at this point, because I do have it on PS3 and I do have it on PS4. No, not PS4, but I want it on PS4 because it looks better. But anyway, yeah, like, I just think it's going to be weird, like, if the game only has two endings, or if it's going to have this massive tree of endings. I don't know, but it is a very complex idea, and if they can pull it off, fucking congratulations, dude. But I don't know, man. I'm keeping this one on the back burner, just like Battlefield 1. Okay, number 2, Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, the reason why this is number 2 is because, not because they delayed the game until next year, but basically because there was a few things in there that didn't seem quite right, or didn't seem flushed out. Obviously, that's why they delayed the game. But there's a few things like, gotta look through this thing that I've got down here. Ooh, lack of emotion when talking to the villager. When, I don't know the main protagonist's name, but when she was talking to the villager about, you know, going back to the village or something, she was basically lifeless. Didn't really have any emotion into what she was saying. So stuff like that could emphasize the situation a little bit better. So hopefully that's what they're, you know, going to flush out of the game. But that, as well as the close render distance for the game, it was basically like, I want to say a good 10 meters in front of you, and everything beyond that point, it would start to load. And that in games really shits me off. Why? Because if I can see foliage load, you're not doing it right. It should load further in the distance. Like, if it's loading, you know, a good 20 meters away, fine, right? But if it's really close to the character, I find that really irritating, especially on a PS4 game. You know, if this game was on PC, it would probably still occur, so it pisses me off both ways, right? On top of that, there was stuff like an interesting narrative that kind of reminds me of the world of Enslaved. If you guys have never played that, it's basically like a overrun sort of nature has taken over the city of something or other. I can't remember, it was fucking ages ago. But yeah, stuff like that, and then like mechs and shit get involved, and it's kind of the same thing, but more of a jungly type thing, and you get villages and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I find it kind of cool actually. What else was there? Cool mechanics like scan mechanics that allows the player to investigate an enemy robot's gear, electronic slingshot with different sort of. I assume this is just an assumption, but I am going to say that there's going to be different ammo types, because at one instance, the character was shooting like an arrow at a robot, but it didn't do anything. Then she pulled out this sword thing and like whacked it in the face, and it was like electronic or whatever. I don't know. It was cool. It was cool. I'll give him that. The craft system's kind of basic. Put 2 and 2 together, craft something. We've seen that before. Corrupted robots. Now that was a really weird one, because at the same time you have these robots that are trying to kill you in the world, but then these corrupted robots are doing the same thing, but I'm assuming they infect you or infect other robots to, you know, make them more angry, and then they attacking groups or something. I don't know how that works. I haven't really been looking into any of these games really. I just looked at the trailers and was like, yes, this. So I don't know the full details. That's not what I'm here for. I don't want to know a lot about these games. Why? Because these games I want to play. I don't want to ruin anything for myself or ruin it for you, because you've probably already seen these trailers as well. Okay. Robot riding mechanics, that was kind of cool. And the world looks to be open, which is kind of cool as well. Okay. Number 1, which you probably already gathered by now, is God of War. Now, the reason why this is number 1 is because it's different. It's a different God of War game. The fact that they got a new voice actor. The previous voice actor was T.C. Carson, and the new one is Chris Judge. Yes, I'm using notes on the side here. They use a third-person camera this time around, rather than the isometric on-top camera where which is, it's interesting, but at the same time it feels forced, because they later revealed, or the developer or director or whatever later revealed, that the child is going to be dedicated to a specific button. So it feels like instead of actually making the world around Kratos or whatever, they made the world or environment, or in this case the camera, around the interaction with the child, which I'm not really a fan of. I don't really want to be like, kid, do this, fucking fiddle over there, fucking do this puzzle, you know? I don't want to do that. I really don't, but the game looks kind of cool. So they have a new mechanic that's basically a rage mechanic. It's possibly going to be QuickTime events, which is press down R3 and L3 and rage mechanic and do stuff, click buttons. Which is basically like bringing back the QuickTime events from the original games. I never played most of God of War 1 because my save on PS3 got corrupted, and I was like, fuck you, Sony. So I never ended up finished God of War 1 or 2 or 3 or Ascension. So I'm pretty far behind when it comes to the story. I probably won't remember a lot of it anyway. But yeah. The attack animations look to be a little sluggish. I know that Kratos is getting old and whatever. He's got a son now, all that sort of stuff, which is cool. But at the same time, it felt like there's a lack of weight behind those hits, rather than, you know, in God of War 1 to 3, those hits actually, you know, meant damage. It felt like you were actually doing damage to them, and they reacted every time you hit them. Whereas when Kratos was fighting the troll, as they call it, I think, he didn't respond at all to any of the hits. So I'm not really too sure what the deal is with that. But if Kratos is going to smack him with an axe or whatever, then I'm assuming that they should be you know, flinching or doing something. Because if you're getting stabbed in the leg, I don't care how large you are, you would probably be like, ow, that hurt a little bit, smack you in the face. You know, there should be some reaction, but it didn't look like there was a reaction at all. So hopefully they can get that sort of stuff flushed out, and how well the father-son gameplay mechanic integrated into gameplay works, who knows? But it could be interesting. I don't like, this is one thing that really pisses me off these days with games. They try to get the same name and republish it, but make it different. This isn't going to be a reboot to God of War. This is God of War. God of War. Why did you go with, I have to ask this question, why did you go with God of War only? Why isn't it God of War suffix? Because God of War sounds like it's either a remake of the first game or it's just a reboot of God of War, which is, it's neither of those. So get your stuff together, mate, and just call it something else as well as God of War. You know, I don't know, it just it annoys me. It annoys me so much. Same with Battlefield 1. Who the fuck thought that was a great idea? Anyway, my name is Rampage. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Let me know what your top 5 favorites were for E3 2016 in the comments below. See you guys next time. Peace out.